What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having an excellent week. Today I thought it would be fun to share with you the top 10 albums that influenced my drumming or changed my outlook on drumming in one way or another. I always get questions about my influences when I was growing up, so let's take a fun trip down memory lane together. So by the time this video is over, you're gonna have 10 albums to go listen to, or probably not all 10, because you might know some of these albums already. And I really didn't know how to order these, so I guess we'll just start when I was a little boy. When I first started playing drums, I was super duper young, so I really didn't have any influence at first, or even really know where to start. Not even kidding, I was like 2 or 3 years old when I first started drumming, so yeah, no influence. I would literally just learn from watching somebody else play the drums. But when I first started trying to play along to actual songs, naturally I just started playing to the stuff that my dad was listening to at the time, which was southern rock style, you know, Allman Brothers, Leonard Skinner, pretty easy listening stuff. And I played along to these songs for several years, and I liked it too, I just didn't know jack about the other music that was out there, yet. I think the first heavier rock band I ever listened to was Aerosmith. Yeah, when I was in 3rd or 4th grade, I picked up one of their greatest hits CDs at the music store, and I remember really enjoying it, but the drumming was still fairly simple, right? It wasn't until 5th grade. One day I was riding in my uncle's truck and he put on Metallica for me, and I was like, holy shit. What the hell is this, and why have I never heard it before? I'm pretty sure it was the Black Album that we were first listening to, and man, I remember just being blown away by the heaviness and the meaty, distorted guitars. I was literally crapping my pants. So after that, I went out and bought a whole whack of Metallica CDs over the next couple months, and the one that stood out to me the most, the one that really made me listen to the drumming, was Injustice for All. Something about Lars' drumming on this album, dude. It's all over the place. It's so good. It goes between the crazy fast thrash beats to the off-time fills he does, and everything just sounds super tight. And it could very well be the extremely dry mix on this album that makes his playing sound tighter, but I don't know, in my opinion, his drums on this whole album are just way more intricate. There's that riff near the end of Blackened where he just goes totally offbeat, and that part used to confuse the hell out of me, actually, but dude, when it comes back in, oof. It's so weird. Comes back in. Oh. And the odd time signatures too, especially on the title track. It's just such a unique beat that you will not hear anywhere else. But of course, we cannot forget about his blazing fast double bass speed in Dyer's Eve. Oh, yeah! And ever since 5th grade, Metallica has pretty much been my favorite band of all time. Speaking of favorites, this video is sponsored by everyone's favorite game, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid is a dark fantasy RPG with hundreds of characters to collect, customize, and battle with. When I first started playing it, it kind of reminded me of playing Final Fantasy as a kid, except there's a lot more characters, over 600. And you can play it for free on your mobile device or your computer. There's a lot you can do in Raid, so let me break it down nice and simple for you. Here's the summoning portal. This is where you use shards to get new champions. Then you take those champions into battle, level them up, and get them even stronger. And once you boost their stats enough, you can take them into the dungeons to fight the bosses for even better gear. You can also join a clan once your level is high enough, then you can team up with your buddies and defeat the clan boss for extra rewards. But I think my favorite thing to do is go into the arena and beat the crap out of other players. There's nothing quite like the feeling of taking down another team in one shot. They're always updating the game. Right now there's a trick-or-treat promo going on where you can win real-life and in-game prizes. This includes some of the best Halloween champions in the game and $1,000 Amazon gift cards. I'd like to win one of those. It's free to enter. Just download Raid using my link, then go to trickortreat.plarium.com. I'll put that below too. Then you just enter your details, spin the wheel, and get your prize. But you better hurry up because this event ends November 5th and it's only for new players. Get your butts in here, use my link below or scan my QR code and each new player will get $30 worth of bonuses. You get a free epic champion Tyrell, 200,000 silver, an energy refill, XP boost, and 1 ancient shard so you can summon another new champion right away. And definitely use Tyrell, he's great, he lowers your enemy's defense. All this free stuff will be waiting for you right up here in the inbox, but only for the next 30 days and for new players. Good luck, happy raiding, and I'll see you guys in there. Oh, yeah. Okay, fast forward to the summer between middle school and high school. I was now 13 years old and headed off to band camp. And yes, if you didn't know, I was a marching band nerd for my first 2 years of high school until I got kicked out for pooping in somebody's hat. But anyways, this is when I met my friend Steve Myers and his older brother Chris. These two actually ended up introducing me to a lot of amazing metal bands that I still listen to today, like In Flames, Children of Bodom, Symphony X. You know, you always got that one friend who's finding all the best music to listen to. That was the Myers brothers for me. So thank you, Steve and Chris. We used to carpool for band camp, and I remember being in their mom's minivan on the way home one night, and then Dance of Eternity by Dream Theater comes on. This was now the second time in my life that I had crapped my pants because of music. Besides those powerful hits and those triplet fills at the beginning there, I think it was also the keyboards that really made me be like, what? Because at this point in my life, I had never heard electronic keyboards used in music like that before. The notes and the scale used at the beginning there really made me like, and then once that first odd-timed drum fill started between the snare and the toms and then all the other instruments are matching it, I was like, oh my god, this is actually insane. And if that was my reaction after like a million listens, imagine my reaction when I first heard it. I'd pay money to be a fly on the wall in that moment. Yeah. And this was also my first inspiration to start working on my double bass skills. And some of you might be like, wait a second, you just talked about Dyer's Eve and Metallica, that has fast double bass. And that's true, but I was so young and naive when I was first listening to Metallica that I didn't even know what double bass was when it was happening in the song. I didn't even know that it was a thing. I thought it was something else. So, yeah. There was just something about Mike Portnoy's playing that really inspired me to learn more about double bass, and especially his signature fills, those Portnoy fills. Oof. Now, I would say that I immediately went out and bought Scenes from a Memory, but this is when CD burning and Napster started to become popular. And luckily, the Myers had a computer that burned CDs, so they burned me a copy. And I don't think I listened to anything but this album for quite a while after this. I even went out and I got Mike Portnoy's VHS pack, the Liquid Drum Theater. I studied that shit like a fucking bachab. But this entire album is chock full of Mike Portnoy drumming, sexy goodness, whatever you want to call it. Go listen to it after this video. This was also my first real introduction to odd time signatures, and religiously watching those Portnoy VHS tapes, it really helped me get a better understanding of it. Mike Portnoy, you are the fucking man. Sex. Okay, album number 3, fast forward another year, and this is when Napster had gotten shut down and people were using a different P2P called LimeWire instead. It was my sophomore year of high school, and I remember sitting there in my parents' computer room being extremely hungry to expand my heavy metal horizons. I also worked at a local grocery store at the time, and there was this cashier there named Corey Highland, and this dude was obsessed with a band called Slayer. And he just kept telling me for weeks to check out Slayer, check out Slayer. Hey dude, you check out Slayer yet? So I searched on LimeWire for Slayer, and the first song that popped up was Angel of Death. And that was pretty much my first reaction. I was like, dude, this is Metallica on crack. Those thrash beats were just so much more aggressive than anything I had ever heard. And the speed! And we can't forget that famous double bass solo before the last chorus. So I downloaded the rest of the album, and I was equally blown away by the rest of the songs. Rain and Blood is just one of those albums that you can listen to all the way through without skipping a track. I don't even think the runtime is a half hour on this album. It's just wham, bam, fuck your mouth before you even know what happened. And Dave Lombardo absolutely crushes the drums on this album, every single song. It's hard for me to even pick a few to recommend. So just listen to the whole thing. Bless. I just listened to the whole album earlier, actually, and it still makes me cry like a little biatch. Not long after Slayer, I started noticing some of the older kids at high school wearing t-shirts that had a bunch of scary-looking dudes with masks on it. And this, of course, was Slipknot. I had no idea what their music sounded like, but I was told that it had some crazy fast drumming, so of course I had to check that out, you know? I jumped back onto LimeWire and I searched for Slipknot, and this is the first song I heard. And my reaction. And that intro grabbed me by the throat. I was not ready for that blast beat. That actually might have been the first blast beat I ever listened to. Then immediately accompanied by that double bass, I was like, dude, this is faster than a premature ejac. And once Corey said that line, I knew I was gonna fall in love with this band. It's funny because when I was a kid, I first thought that Lars was the best drummer ever. And then when I heard about Dream Theater, I was like, wow, Mike Portnoy is the best drummer ever. And then when I finally heard Slipknot, I was like, Joey must be a god. Downloaded the entire Iowa album that day, downloaded the self-titled album as well. I was instantly a Slipknot fanboy Bobby. But back to Iowa, I'm sure most of you guys know the song by now, Disaster Piece. Yeah. This is the one that really made me want to take my drumming to the next level. Not only are the drums pumping and aggressive and fast, but Joey was really creative with this one, especially all the little hi-hat and splash fills and accents that he does during the quieter parts too. Then another favorite of mine is of course the Heretic Anthem, another extreme banger that will test the double bass stamina of even the mightiest big dicks. It goes through the entire intro and the entire first verse, and we can't forget that insane drum fill after the second chorus. Then goes some more double bass. Joey, rest in peace, you legendary legend. Okay, album number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was still my sophomore year of high school, and one night I was chatting with my pal Chris Banka. Some of you might know him as Bonk. We were hanging out on AOL Instant Messenger one night. Holy shit, you guys remember that program? But anyways, he was like, dude, you gotta check out this new metal band I found. They're called Lamb of God. So I said, really? Well, that name sounds pretty metal. What song should I listen to, Bonk? And this is what he sent me. And I'm not gonna lie, during that first part, I wasn't really into it yet. The drums were just kind of repeating the same slow triplet double bass over and over again, and the guitars weren't all that crazy. It just sounded like, to me, at first, it just sounded like mediocre drums mixed with mediocre guitar. But I kept listening, and I'm glad I did, because holy shit, it got a lot better. All of a sudden, the drummer started throwing in much quicker kick patterns between the double bass, and then the guitars started getting more intricate. It was really grooving now. I was digging it. But then, something unexpected happened after the second chorus. The motherfucking ruin fill. Probably one of Chris Adler's best drum fills of all time. And the kick patterns during the fast part, those are tough with the pauses in there. Like it's almost tougher to play that stuff with the pauses than it is just doing straight double bass, you know? Then fast forward a couple months and all of a sudden Lamb of God puts out a new album called Ashes of the Wake, and this is the one I absorbed like a sponge. Don't get me wrong though, As the Palaces Burn was pretty damn good, but I feel like Ashes of the Wake has just more banging songs on it. And this might be another album that you don't need to skip any tracks, they're all fucking great. Even on the first track of the album, Chris is doing such unique drum beats, and that main laid to rest riff with the offbeat snare. So freaking cool, man, and it serves the song really well. Also, track 3, Now You've Got Something to Die For, another song with really interesting drum beats. I love the use of all the little tiny splash cymbals for some of the accents that match the guitars, and the double bass pattern, again, is pretty tough. Listening to it now, kind of reminds me of something Gene Hoglan would do. Oh, yeah. Still one of my favorite heavy metal albums of all time. And if for some reason you've been living under a rock, go check it out. And here's a fun fact for you. Lamb of God, later that year, they did a tour for Ashes of the Wake, and they ended up filming a DVD called Philadelphia, and I might be on that DVD in a couple spots, especially the ending credits. Go watch it and see if you can find me. Alrighty then, album number 6. It's funny, this one is number 6 too, because this one really holds a special place in my cav. Junior year of high school, I was at the music store in the mall one day looking through all the metal CDs, and I came across this. My first thought was, whoa, this looks fucked up. What the hell is this? I'm not even sure if I had heard the name Dimmu Borgir before, but the artwork alone was just screaming at me, so I bought it, not knowing what to expect. Then the intro track starts. Some nice strings, orchestra stuff going on. I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. Sounds like a fucking movie soundtrack. But then the key changes. Starts to get pretty scary. It's like in a horror movie when you just realized your worst nightmares are coming to life and you're about to die. Then all of a sudden, this happens. I was like, holy fucking fuckballs, those drums, dude. Those fucking drums just cut through the mix so well. Oh. And the tom fills, dude. Fuck. You feel that shit in your chest. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I ever heard triggered drums, and let me tell you, I had an instant boing. Before this, I had no idea that triggering or sampling drums was even a thing. But this album, you guys, it's gotta be in my top 3 favorites of all time. It's hard to think of an album that impacted me more than this one. Nicholas fucking Barker. The drum performance on this album, dude, I've probably shed about 22 buckets of tears listening to this shit over the past couple decades. It's just so fucking good, man. Sorry, I'm saying fuck a lot right now, but it's fucking great. The fills, the blast beats, the speed, the precision, the creativity. The first thing this album made me do was go out and get more splash cymbals. Nick's use of the splashes in between the tom fills, like going from tom to tom, like oh, I wanted to do that so bad. So yeah, shortly after that, I ended up putting a splash over almost every single rack tom. Then we have the use of the double ride cymbal, one on the left, one on the right. Example, Kings of the Carnival creation. It's kind of hard to hear it, but it's there. So sick, man. And of course, after this is also when I started saving up to buy drum triggers. I even went as far as getting the exact same drum module that Nick used on this album, just so I could play with those same sounds. I was fucking obsessed, dude. Well, still am. And I still love to play the Nick Barker signature drum fill to this day. It's so calf melting, how can you not? Oh, what's that? You don't know what fill I'm talking about? Let's check out the beginning of Maelstrom Mephisto. Oh, fuck, dude. Punches you right in the balls. Let's move on though, because I could seriously sit here and talk about this album all fucking day. Album number 7. This was near the end of my junior year of high school, and I was now playing in a local power metal band called Suspire. It was a huge honor for me to be in this band because the other members were much older than me, and this was also a band that, you know, me and the other kids in school looked up to for the past couple years. Anyways, one day at band practice, the singer shows up and he's raving about some other power metal band from Brazil called Angra, who had just put out a new album called Temple of Shadows. And he's like, oh man, you guys, you gotta check out this new Angra, especially you, Sam, you gotta check out this drummer, dude. So I said, oh, okay. Hit me with it, daddy. And right off the bat, those hi-hat accents, dude. Oh, it's super dynamic drum fill. Listen to the cymbal accents. Oh, it's like a regular power metal beat, but so much more fun to listen to. Almost makes you want to dance. Achilles Priester was the drummer on this album. Fucking legend. I love this guy. He's got the speed and a ridiculous amount of power, and you can taste that sexy Brazilian groove in his playing. Those accents, dude. Oh, it's just so tasty. So tasty. You want to melt it and spread it. Here's some Angels and Demons for you. More noise. Double bass. That's fast. Changes the snare. Dude, it's so creative. Fill. I gotta show you the bridge for this one too. He goes fucking nuts. Here we go. The feet. Halftime. Oh. shit. Absolutely some of the best drumming I've ever listened to. Add this album to your list, please. Album number 8. I believe this one was introduced to me that same year, and it was also because of my bandmates in Suspire. Whenever we had band practice, afterwards we'd all usually get into Greg's car and go to a diner or something like that and get some food. And of course, we always had to listen to some killer tunes during those car rides. But one random evening, Greg turns around from the driver's seat and he goes, "Hey Sam, have you heard Necrophagist yet?" I'm like, "No, what the hell's a Necrophagist?" He laughed and then put this on. Yes! Another time that I shat myself because of music. Then Greg had to clean his car. Oh. The first thing I noticed was the power behind those blast beats. You can really hear the snare cutting through. And then the jazziness and the amazing technicality of the fills. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Not to mention all the odd time signatures that make this shit even more complex. There's still to this day parts on this album that I still haven't figured out yet because they're that hard. It's like 5/8 time signature. Just listen to the drums. So creative, dude. What the fuck? That took years for me to memorize. Now I'll blast in 5/8. Ready? One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shit! And the guitar solos, dude. The fucking guitar solos on this album were way ahead of its time. So many sweeps and the taps and the shredding, like, in the title track too. Listen to this, alright? During the punk beat, he throws triplets underneath to match the guitar sweeps. Just ready? Wait for the blast. Here we go. Because of the sweep, and he matches the triplets. What the fuck? And you want to know the best part about the drums on this album? They were all written by the guitarist Muhammad. What a genius! But still, regardless, we also have to give credit to Hans Grossman, who did an amazing job playing these songs. Like, there's not a single sloppy drum hit on this entire album. It almost makes you wonder if they're programmed, but it doesn't matter either way, because Hans, he played it all live. Have another big one. Okay, fast forward a few more years to 2010, or 2011 maybe, and this next album might surprise a lot of you. I'd played in a bunch of bands at this point and even done a bunch of touring, so I was kind of burnt out currently on all the metal stuff and looking for something different to listen to. At this time, I was hanging out with my neighbor a lot, Keith, also known as the little boy across the street, also known as Keeper of the Poop Stick, also known as Queef. We used to hang out and smoke weed and play Halo a lot on the good old Xbox 360. You guys remember the Halo days? Oh yeah. But we also listened to a lot of music. Queef played guitar, but he was more into the punk scene. He really didn't listen to metal. When I told him I needed something new, he was like, well, have you ever actually sat down and listened to Blink-182 and paid attention to the drums? And I just laughed at him at first. I was like, dude, get the hell out of here. Why do you think I would enjoy that stuff? I had, of course, heard, What's My Age Again on the radio before, but I never really thought, the drumming was spectacular. I guess, I was just one of those assholes who just assumed that Travis Barker was overrated without actually listening to his playing. But Queef said, hey, even if you don't like the music, just listen to the drums, man. Trust me. So he put on Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, and he was right. I instantly fell in love with Travis's drumming. Ready? It's going nuts, dude, with the... Ready? Ugh. Like, if you just listen to the kick and snare of that beat, it's just a standard rock beat. but he's adding so much cool shit to it. Like the tom fills, the splashes, the ride bell, whatever he's doing there. It's so cool. Another one I love is called Happy Holidays, You Bastard. This is not even a minute long and he's doing some crazy fills.
It's Christmas Eve and I've only wrapped 2 fucking presents. Christmas Eve and I've only wrapped 2 fucking presents. And I hate your guts. I hate your guts. And I'll never talk to you again. Unless you're down to suck me on, I'll never talk to you again.
So many drum fills. The lyrics are pretty damn funny too. But the fills, dude.
It's Labor Day and my grandpa just ate 7 fucking hot dogs. Labor Day and my grandpa just ate 7 fucking hot dogs. And he shit his pants. He's always fucking shit his pants. And I'll never.
One more I'll show you is the verse for Please Take Me Home.
Oh no, it happened again. She's cool, she's hot.
I love
she's
that,
my
dude.
friend. I tried for hours and so you leave me nowhere to go.
I guess you could say this is when I was starting to appreciate the more simple, groovy stuff than just like the really fast stuff. Travis was pretty damn fast too, right? But that beat right there, he could have just went the whole time, but no, he didn't.
Hours and so you leave me
That's so tasty, dude. So tasty, so creative. It makes it like so much more fun to listen to, right? It makes you do that face like you're getting your corn cob licked. This whole album is great. Add it to your list. Or don't. Just saying though, this is another one of those albums that you don't need to skip a track. They're all fucking great songs. Sucks. And finally, we have reached album number 10. Whew. Moving forward to 2013, somewhere around there, this is when I stopped touring and started going back to school so I could finish my education. Long story short, the drives usually took a while, so I needed some new metal to digest while sitting in Zakar. And I don't mean like technically newly released, just new to me. Yeah. At the time, I had just come off touring for a couple of years with Decrepit Birth, and I remember Matt, the guitarist, always saying that he was heavily influenced by a band called Death. Yeah, you guys are gonna kill me for this, but This is another band that I came extremely late to the party. I had heard of them previously, of course, and I think I heard the song Spirit Crusher a couple years back, but that was pretty much it. So I downloaded pretty much their entire catalog and checked it out, and the album that really made my winky hard was Symbolic. This album has the legendary Gene Hoglan on the drums, and oh my god, the drumming on this album is fucking. And I remember when I used to watch all the Nicholas Barker videos that I could get my hands on, in one of the interviews, he says that he's influenced by Gene Hoglan. And I was like, oh, shit. It's starting to make sense now. This is one of the drummers that Barker gets his creativity from. Fucking Hoglan, dude. The atomic clock. Check out these beats in the song Zero Tolerance. Like, dude, who the hell thinks of beats like that? Those quick cymbal jokes? Oh, that's tasty. This is another album where the entire thing is gold. But if I have to pick one more to show you, it's probably going to be Perennial Quest.
knowing too much.
That's so weird, but quick kicks in there. God, this shit makes me cry, dude.
On the perennial quest, reaching into the dark, retrieving
Those pauses are so tight too with the guitars. Like, it's not even fast,
perennial quest,
but
where dreams have followed.
it hits you in the right places. Oh man, this ending. This is the last track of the album too. Fun fact, this is the song my wife and I had playing while we got married. Oh yeah. And I guess that's gonna do it. Yeah. This was a lot of fun, revisiting all these amazing albums, man. Holy shite. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something new about me as a drummer and as a person. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Click.